one day we literally came to the point because Mary used to keep a copy of the Good Beer Guide in the car, wrapped in brown paper, and this pub had a star in it, which was called Seymour Arms. And as we were driving back from Cornwall, we came here on a Sunday afternoon, about 7:15 in the evening, and we came for a pint, and it was very, very quiet, and there was hardly anybody here, and we just got talking to someone on this bar billiards table, because they showed us how to play bar billiards, because we didn't know how to play it, and they said, "What are you doing down here anyway?" We said, "Well, actually, we're looking for somewhere to live." And they said, "Well, why don't you come rent the house next door to us, because it's up for rent?" And we said, "Okay." So the next day, we went and had a look, and we moved here a month later, and we're still there. We bought the house after renting it for 2 years from the farm. So it's because of the pub that we moved here.
Walk in, there's 3 rooms, which is not a lot. There's nothing to eat, apart from crisps or egg and chips, of which crisps are a component part. You can play bar billiards, you can hang around in there, you can talk to farmers' mums. Or you can play darts, and there's sort of no experiences at the pub blur into one, but in the best way imaginable. It is utterly familiar and wholesome and cosy in the way that all good pubs should be.
Oh, really? Well, the toilets are now on the side of the building.
That's all we've seen change.
That's all we've seen
Major
change. Major changes, like really. Never really. Well, been nothing else. The price has gone up a couple of times.
Yeah.
A lot of places do the food. Of course,
That is more trendy, isn't it?
What?
People go to a certain place for so long and then they disappear
somewhere
off
else.
somewhere else or somewhere new. There's always somewhere new to try.
But we the age group of our customers
It's
is,
grown up with us.
well, yeah, but mainly I was going to say is still from 1820 to 70s, 80s. Do you know what I mean? So we've got all the way through. We still get quite a few youngsters, don't we, really?
Yeah, and it's surprising how many youngsters that remember the bus still come back
But
with their
kids.
children. Isn't it?
Well, that's basically why I put it down over the Woolworths too. And the amount of people that come, "Oh, you still got the bus?" It's just like, well, we didn't know what to do with it. You either had to cut it up and take it to the scrapyard, or make a feature of it down there. And make a feature of it down there. Been here most of our lifetime, hasn't it? So it's
all of the girls.
yeah. Well, and Sally. But yeah.
So for 10 years, I've been living here longer than I've lived anywhere else. So this is more of a home to me, I think, than where I grew up, probably, because I've been here longer than anywhere else that I've lived. And the pub plays a huge part in that, because it's the reason we moved here, and we spend an awful lot of time here. All our friends are here, and it hasn't really changed, and we like it, and we love it very, very much. So when Joseph was born, his middle name's Seymour, after the Seymour Arms. So we named him after the pub.
How long have you been coming to the pub?
I just worked out must be somewhere around 38 years I've been coming down here, mainly just at weekends to start with my dad. I can drive back then. So, quite a while. Like John and Jean was here then when we come down here, and Sally since then they passed away. Still a good pub though.
Did you know anyone from Witten before? Or?
No, didn't know anyone in Witten when we first started coming down here.
So do you know why you started coming down at all?
It was just my dad, he knew of a pub down here, and we started coming down on Sundays. That was the only day, and then gradually it got to every night literally we were coming down here. You know, we lived in Borton, quite a way away. Beer was cheaper. Always been good for prices down here.
Where a lot of places, well, I think we gained quite a few customers from Frome because pubs in Frome didn't have gardens, so
And
they
didn't
could
want to
come out
stand
here.
on the pavement, did
And
they?
people were, well, they weren't allowed to, really, not allowed to drink on the pavement. So
No, but
people come here because they could meet up with people and sit outside. And as it happened, we had nice weather anyway, so that probably done us good turn, really, in some ways, didn't it?
yeah.
Kept us going.
The thing that's really interesting is that the pub doesn't try and attract people here. People just come. So the pub doesn't put things on. It doesn't hold, dinner dances and, quiz nights and all those things. People decide to hold events here and they come and do it at the pub. So there's duck race on Monday, it's Easter. So Conkers are organising the duck race and they will just naturally have it at the pub. The pub doesn't organise it. The pub just kind of sits here and waits for things to happen. And actually that's a very successful way of running it because the pub itself is actually fairly passive. It hasn't changed since we moved here. And I don't think it's changed, in the 20, 30 years before we moved here either.
It's owned, so that reduces the cost, so we've been able to keep at a level. We're not pitching at the top of the range or one particular range, then anyone's
We'll
welcome.
never
sort of
be
thing.
millionaires, Rodney.
No, you'll never be millionaires.
So saying is,
But you won't have time to spend it anyway, so.
no, definitely not.
Because the pub is family owned with no debt and no landlord and very few obligations. So it just keeps on going. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's managed to remain constant. And that's why it's been successful. And that's why people love it, because it is a genuine place. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so successful, and that's one of the reasons why people love it so much.
That is the only pub I go to. It's the only one worth going to. There's no jukebox and no one eating food, well, unless they bring their own. So it's a proper pub. You don't want to get blared out with music all the time. This is a talking pub where people come to talk and talk about whatever they like. Everyone mixes here, whether you're a millionaire or someone on the breadline, you still talk to each other.